Hello everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the English Fluent Journey. I hope you're all doing great today. If you're tuning in for the first time, I'm Jasmine, and I'm here to guide you on your path to mastering English. Whether you're just starting or you're already on your way to fluency, this podcast is packed with valuable tips and insights to help you improve your skills and make learning English an enjoyable and rewarding experience. Today's episode is something really special. We're diving into a topic that is crucial for every language learner: how to unlock your English fluency and avoid common mistakes that hold you back. I'll be sharing some of the best methods that I've personally found helpful and giving you practical advice you can start using right away to see progress in your speaking, listening, and comprehension skills. Now, I know you're all eager to learn, but here's the deal. Stay tuned until the very end of the episode, because I've got a special tip that will absolutely transform the way you approach learning English. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. So, let's get started and dive into today's episode. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll have a whole new perspective on how to approach your English learning journey. All right, let's start with something that is often overlooked in language learning: the mindset. Now, you might be wondering, Jasmine, why are we talking about mindset? Isn't English all about vocabulary, grammar, and speaking practice? And while those things are undeniably important, your mindset is actually the foundation of everything else. It's what drives your motivation, shapes your approach to learning, and ultimately determines how successful you will be in becoming fluent. Without the right mindset, no amount of practice will help you truly master the language. The first thing you need to understand is that fluency is a process, not a destination. It's a journey, and it takes time. Think of it like building a muscle. You wouldn't expect to bench press 100 pounds on your first day at the gym, right? Learning a language is the same way. It's all about gradual progress, and that's perfectly okay. Embrace the process and understand that every mistake you make, every challenging moment, is just part of the growth. It's the struggle that builds your skill. Let me share a little story with you. A few years ago, I was talking to a friend who was also learning English. She was always frustrated because she didn't feel like she was improving fast enough. Every time she made a mistake, she'd get discouraged and feel like giving up. One day, she told me, "Jasmine, I just feel like I'm not cut out for this. Maybe English isn't for me." Now, I've had my own share of struggles with learning languages, so I understood exactly how she felt. But here's what I said to her. You're making progress whether you see it or not. The fact that you're showing up and practicing means you're learning. But what's even more important than that is your attitude. If you approach every mistake as a step forward rather than a setback, you'll see improvements so much faster. You just have to change the way you think about learning. I'll never forget the shift in her attitude after that conversation. Over the next few weeks, she stopped stressing about every little mistake and started celebrating the small wins. She began practicing more often, and guess what? Her fluency improved at a rate that surprised both of us. But the key was that she stopped seeing mistakes as failures and started seeing them as opportunities to grow. This is exactly why mindset is so crucial. If you approach learning English with the belief that you can do it, even on the days when you feel like you're stuck, you're already halfway there. Your mindset shapes your behavior, and your behavior shapes your results. A positive, growth-oriented mindset will push you through the hard days, the slow progress, and the times when you feel like giving up. But let's dive deeper into what this mindset actually looks like in practice. First, you have to embrace imperfection. As I mentioned, mistakes are not something to be afraid of. In fact, they're your best teachers. Think about it. When we were children learning our first language, we didn't worry about making mistakes. We just spoke, listened, and practiced. As adults learning a second language, we need to adopt the same attitude. The more mistakes you make, the more you'll learn, and the faster you'll improve. Second, stay patient and consistent. We live in a world that thrives on instant gratification, but fluency doesn't happen overnight. You can't expect to go from basic phrases to native-level fluency in a few months. It's going to take time, and that's okay. The key is to stay consistent. Show up every day, practice regularly, and trust that the progress will come. Even on the days when you feel like you're not making any headway, remember that your brain is still working behind the scenes, processing everything you've learned. Lastly, you need to visualize your success. I can't tell you how many times I've had to remind myself that learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. When you're in the middle of the journey, it's easy to feel frustrated or like you're not improving. But one of the most powerful tools in your toolbox is to imagine your future self speaking fluently, understanding English movies, traveling the world, or engaging in conversations with native speakers. Visualizing your success gives you the motivation to push through the tough days and keeps your focus on the bigger picture. To sum it up, your mindset is everything when it comes to language learning. It's the lens through which you'll experience every part of the process. If you believe in yourself, embrace mistakes, stay patient, and visualize your success, you'll be amazed at how much progress you'll make. Now, before we move on to the next segment, I want to challenge you. Take a moment today to reflect on your current mindset. Are you focusing on what you're not doing well, or are you celebrating the progress you've already made? Try to shift your thinking towards a growth mindset and notice how much more motivated you feel. All right, let's keep going and explore some practical methods for improving your English fluency. Now that we've laid the foundation with the right mindset, let's dive into some of the best learning methods that will truly help you accelerate your progress and move closer to fluency. This segment is all about practical, real-world techniques you can start using immediately. These aren't just tips that sound good in theory. These are tried and tested methods that work. Let's start with immersion. Arguably one of the most powerful ways to learn any language, not just English. When you immerse yourself in the language, you surround yourself with English in all its forms. And no, I don't mean you have to move to an English-speaking country or completely isolate yourself from your native language. Immersion is about creating an environment where English is all around you and becomes a natural part of your day. Think about it. When we learned our first language as children, we didn't learn from textbooks. We learned by hearing our parents, siblings, and friends speak it all around us. Immersion is essentially recreating that environment for yourself as an adult. And the best part? You don't need to travel anywhere to make this happen. You can start right at home. Here's how you can apply immersion in your life. Watch English movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos. But don't just passively watch them. Make it active by turning off subtitles at first, or only using subtitles in English. The goal is to train your brain to think in English without relying on translations. Change your phone, computer, and social media settings to English. By doing this, you're constantly interacting with the language, whether you realize it or not. Even if you're not actively learning, you'll start picking up new vocabulary and phrases simply by reading your phone notifications or browsing social media. Listen to English podcasts or audiobooks. This can be done during your daily commute, while cooking or doing chores. If you can fill up your day with English audio input, you'll be amazed at how much you learn just by listening to natural, real-world conversations. Now, immersion is amazing, but it needs to be combined with active listening to really be effective. Active listening means you're not just hearing words, you're actively engaging with them. This is where you really focus on understanding the message, picking up on the pronunciation, and absorbing the rhythm of the language. Active listening helps you develop your listening skills and improves your ability to understand English in different accents and speeds. Let me give you a few practical active listening exercises. Listen and repeat. This is a powerful technique where you listen to a short clip, whether it's a sentence, phrase, or conversation, and then repeat it out loud. Focus on mimicking the intonation, stress, and rhythm of the speaker. It's a great way to practice pronunciation and reinforce new vocabulary. Take notes while listening. Instead of just listening passively, Grab a notebook and write down key points, words, and phrases you don't understand. Afterward, you can look them up and study them in context. This helps reinforce what you've heard and increases retention. Watch videos with English subtitles. When you're just starting out, watching videos with subtitles in English can help you connect spoken words with their written form. This helps build a connection between listening and reading, and you'll start to recognize the words when you hear them in conversations. Over time, try turning off the subtitles to challenge yourself. Another effective technique is shadowing. This is one of my personal favorite methods because it's so engaging and active. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and try to speak at the exact same time, mimicking their pronunciation, tone, and speed. Think of it like trying to shadow their every word. I know this might sound difficult at first, but trust me, it's incredibly effective. Here's why. When you shadow, you're not just listening to the words, you're training your brain to speak the language in real time. This builds your fluency and confidence. It's like a mental workout for your speaking skills. Here's how to use shadowing effectively. Pick short audio clips. Choose short clips, maybe a sentence or two, and listen to them multiple times. Try to mimic the speaker as closely as possible, including their rhythm and emotions. This will help you sound more natural in conversations. Start slow and gradually increase speed. If you're finding it hard to keep up with a fast speaker, slow the audio down. Many platforms allow you to adjust the speed, so start slow, and then, as you get better, increase the speed to match natural conversation. Record yourself. Once you've shadowed the clip a few times, record yourself repeating it. Compare your recording to the original. This way, you can identify areas where you need improvement and focus on refining your pronunciation. Now let's talk about something that I believe is absolutely essential for every English learner: practical real-life practice. We can't just learn from books and audio clips alone. We need to practice in real-life situations. This is where a lot of learners struggle because they feel shy or fear making mistakes. But the truth is, the more you practice in real-life situations, the quicker you'll improve. Here are some ways you can practice English in real-life settings. Find a language exchange partner. This is a fantastic way to practice speaking. You find someone who speaks English and wants to learn your language, and you help each other out. You can practice speaking English for half the time, and then switch to your language. It's a win-win situation. Join an online English-speaking group or community. The internet is full of platforms where you can join English conversation groups. Whether it's through apps like HelloTalk, Tandem, or even Facebook groups, there are so many opportunities to engage in conversations with native speakers or fellow learners. Attend language meetups or English clubs. If you live in a city with a diverse population, you may be able to find local meetups for language learners. It's a fantastic way to practice in a supportive environment. You'll meet people who understand the challenges you're going through and who can help you along the way. Practice with friends or family. If you're surrounded by people who speak your native language, start making an effort to speak in English. Even if you're just ordering food at a restaurant or talking about your day, those small conversations can build your confidence and fluency. One of the most underrated methods is reading aloud. If you're shy or feel nervous about speaking, reading aloud can be a great way to practice your pronunciation and fluency without the pressure of a real conversation. Pick a book or an article, read it out loud, and focus on your pronunciation. You'd be surprised at how much it can help. To wrap things up, the best learning methods aren't about memorizing vocabulary or focusing on grammar rules all the time. It's about making English a part of your daily life, practicing consistently, and engaging with the language in ways that feel natural and fun. Immersion, active listening, shadowing, and real-life practice are just a few techniques that will take your language skills to the next level. So, I challenge you to pick one or two of these methods today and try them out. See how they work for you and adjust as you go. Your fluency journey is all about experimentation, so keep exploring and find what helps you learn best. All right, let's move on to the next segment, where we'll talk about the common mistakes that hold many learners back and how you can avoid them. All right, now that we've covered some of the best learning methods that will help you on your journey to fluency, it's time to take a look at the common mistakes that so many learners make. These mistakes often hold people back, and while they may seem small, they can have a huge impact on your progress. So, let's dive into some of the most typical errors I see among English learners, and more importantly, how you can avoid them. 1. Focusing too much on grammar at the expense of speaking. One of the most common mistakes is spending too much time focusing on grammar rules, verb tenses and sentence structure, and not enough time actually speaking the language. I get it. Grammar can feel like the backbone of any language, and of course it's important. But here's the thing, communication is key. If you're constantly trying to perfect every grammatical detail, you're going to miss out on real-world practice, and you'll find yourself stuck in a cycle of overthinking. It's almost like you're waiting for the perfect moment to speak. The solution: instead of waiting until you know everything before speaking, start speaking right away. The more you practice, the more you'll notice that grammar becomes second nature. It's fine to make mistakes. Everyone does, even native speakers. The goal should be to communicate clearly and to get your message across. You can correct yourself along the way, but don't let grammar perfection paralyze you. A simple solution is to start having short conversations with language exchange partners, or even talking to yourself in English. You can narrate your day, describe what you see around you, or discuss simple topics like the weather or your plans for the week. The key is to speak regularly, and over time, your grammar will improve naturally. 2. Not practicing pronunciation. Enough. Another common issue I see is that learners focus on vocabulary and grammar, but often neglect their pronunciation. If you can't pronounce words clearly, even the most advanced vocabulary won't help you communicate effectively. Mispronouncing words can also lead to confusion in conversations, and in some cases it can be frustrating for both you and the listener. The solution: to improve your pronunciation, start by listening carefully to how native speakers say words. Pay attention to the sounds, stress, and intonation. Use the shadowing technique we discussed earlier to mimic what you hear. For example, pick a short clip from your favorite movie or TV show, listen to it, and try to repeat it exactly the way the speaker does. This helps train your mouth and vocal cords to produce sounds correctly. Another great method is using pronunciation apps that focus specifically on teaching the sounds of English. Apps like Elsa Speak or Forvo can help you with word pronunciation and give you instant feedback. And don't be afraid to ask a native speaker or tutor to correct your pronunciation if you're unsure. 3rd, not expanding your vocabulary beyond basic phrases. Many learners tend to stick to the same set of basic phrases when speaking. While expressions like, "How are you?" or "I'm fine, thank you" are useful, they can only get you so far. The problem is that once you reach a certain level, using basic phrases will make your speech sound repetitive, and you'll start feeling limited in what you can say. The solution? Challenge yourself to expand your vocabulary every day. Whenever you learn a new word, try to use it in sentences right away. This helps cement the word in your memory. You can also group words by themes, such as family, work, emotions, etc., and try using them in context. For example, instead of saying "I am happy," you could say "I am overjoyed," "I feel ecstatic," or "I'm in a great mood." The more varied your vocabulary, the more fluent and natural you'll sound. A practical way to expand your vocabulary is to read regularly. Whether it's articles, books, or even social media posts, reading exposes you to new words and phrases. Write down words you don't know and look up their meanings, then try using them in sentences of your own. Make it a habit to add at least one new word to your vocabulary each day. 4. Fearing mistakes and avoiding speaking. I've talked about this briefly, but it's worth emphasizing. Fear of making mistakes is one of the biggest barriers to progress. So many learners are terrified of sounding silly or being judged, so they avoid speaking altogether. The truth is, everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. If you avoid speaking because you're afraid of mistakes, you're missing out on one of the most important parts of language learning, the solution. The best way to overcome this fear is to embrace mistakes as a normal part of learning. Every time you make a mistake, you're actually learning something new. Instead of worrying about being perfect, focus on making yourself understood. And remember, making mistakes in English is not a failure. It's part of your journey to fluency. The more you speak, the more confident you'll become. One great way to practice speaking without feeling self-conscious is to practice with a language partner or tutor. Since they are also learning or fluent in English, they'll understand your mistakes and will help you improve without judgment. Plus, having regular conversations will make you more comfortable speaking in real situations. Fifth, not listening actively. A lot of learners spend hours practicing speaking or writing, but they neglect one of the most important skills in language learning, listening. Without active listening, you'll struggle to understand native speakers in real conversations. You may find yourself completely lost when trying to follow a podcast, a movie, or even a casual conversation with a friend. The solution: to improve your listening skills, make listening a part of your daily routine. Listen to English audio every day, whether it's podcasts, audiobooks, movies, or even songs. But don't just listen passively. Actively engage with what you're hearing. Take notes, try to repeat what you hear, and pay attention to the intonation, rhythm, and pronunciation. Over time, your listening skills will improve, and you'll be able to follow more complex conversations. One great exercise to boost your listening skills is dictation. Listen to short sentences or paragraphs and write down what you hear. This helps improve both your listening and writing skills. Afterward, compare your version to the original and correct any mistakes you made. 6. Relying too much on translation. A big mistake I see learners make is constantly translating everything in their head from their native language to English. While this might seem helpful in the beginning, it can actually slow you down. Translation takes time, and when you're trying to translate every single word in your head, it slows down your ability to speak and understand English in real time. The solution: instead of translating, think directly in English. When you come across a new word, try to think of its meaning in English, not in your native language. This helps you make the transition from beginner to more fluent thinking. You can start with simple sentences and gradually build up to more complex ones. Over time, this will help you speak and understand English faster without relying on translation. 7. Not setting realistic goals. Another mistake that many learners make is not setting clear, realistic goals for their language learning. Without goals, it's easy to get distracted and lose motivation. You might find yourself overwhelmed, not knowing where to start or how to measure progress. The solution: set small, achievable goals that will keep you motivated. For example, you could aim to learn 20 new words a week, hold a 10-minute conversation with a native speaker, or listen to one English podcast per day. These small milestones will keep you on track and give you something to celebrate as you move closer to fluency. Remember, language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. Set realistic goals and break them down into manageable steps, and you'll see progress over time. So, there you have it, some of the most common mistakes learners make and how you can avoid them. Keep in mind that these mistakes are normal, and everyone goes through them. The most important thing is to learn from them and keep going. Now, as you continue your journey toward fluency, remember to embrace the learning process, make speaking a regular habit, focus on listening actively, expand your vocabulary, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. With the right mindset and techniques, you'll keep improving every day. All right, let's wrap up this segment and move on to the final part of today's episode, where we'll summarize the key takeaways and I'll share a special challenge to help you keep moving forward. Now it's time for some practice. I want you to participate by speaking and listening with me. Let's start with a simple speaking exercise. I'll say a phrase, and you repeat it after me. Ready? Here we go. I am so excited to learn English today. Now your turn. I am so excited to learn English today. Great. Let's try another. English is the key to unlocking new opportunities. Your turn. English is the key to unlocking new opportunities. Good job. Now, let's move on to a listening exercise. I'll say a sentence, and I want you to listen carefully. After I say it, I'll ask you a question. Here's the first sentence. The best way to improve your English is by practicing every day and immersing yourself in the language. Now the question. What is the best way to improve your English? That's right. The best way is practicing every day and immersing yourself in English. Let's do one more listening exercise. Here's the sentence. Shadowing native speakers can help you sound more natural when you speak English. Question. What does shadowing native speakers help you do? Exactly. It helps you sound more natural when speaking. Now, I want you to create your own sentence using the phrase, to improve your English. For example, I'm reading books to improve my English. Try making your own sentence and say it out loud. Q&A or listener challenge, 5 minutes. Jasmine, let's answer a common question that many learners ask. How can I improve my listening skills? The key to improving your listening is consistency and exposure. Listen to English regularly, even if it's something simple or fun. Here's what you can do. Listen to English podcasts or audiobooks that interest you. Watch movies or shows in English with subtitles. Use apps designed for improving listening skills, like English Class 101 or BBC Learning English. Now, for your listener challenge, I challenge you to listen to an English podcast or YouTube video every day this week. Try to listen actively, repeat what you hear, and summarize it in your own words. If you're feeling confident, try speaking about the topic for 3 minutes in English. This challenge will help you practice your listening and speaking skills. Good luck with your challenge, and don't forget to keep practicing every day. This version is much simpler and easier to follow. Let me know if you need any further adjustments. Thank you so much for joining today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the interactive exercises and found the tips helpful. Remember, consistency is key when learning a new language, and the more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Keep challenging yourself, stay motivated, and never stop learning. I can't wait to hear about your progress. Don't forget to join me again for the next episode of the English Fluent Journey. Until next time, take care and keep practicing.